Greetings, I am Mr. Grimreaper and welcome again everybody to another edition of Rip from the Silverscreen. Tonight, we're going to take a look at the 1922 classic, Nosferatu. This film is regarded as being the first horror film, the first film that that ever started the genre of horror. So this film was directed by F.W. Murnau. This film stars Max Schreck, Gustav von Wagenheim, Greta Schroeder, Alexander Granick, Ruth Landshoff, and Wolfgang Heinz. And this movie was the first silent horror film. And so we're going to talk about this and give our thoughts about this. Yeah. I couldn't finish this movie because it scared the hell out of me. Even as a silent horror film, even as a silent horror film, it still scared the piss out of me. So we're gonna take a look at this, and so here we go. All right, so in 1838, Thomas Hutter lives in the fictional Germany city of Wisberg. His mysterious employer, estate agent Herr Knock, sends Hutter to Transylvania to visit a new client named Count Orlok, who plans to buy a house in Wisberg. Hutter entrusts his loving wife Ellen to his good friend Harding and Harding's sister Annie. Before embarking on his long journey nearing his destination in the Carpathian Mountains, Hutter stops at an inn for dinner. The locals become frightened by a mere mention of Orlok's name and discourage him from traveling to his castle at night, warning of a werewolf on the prowl. The next morning, Hutter takes a coach to a high mountain pass, but the coachman declines to take him any further than the bridge as nightfall is approaching. A black swathed coach appears after Hutter crosses the bridge, and the coachman gestures for him to climb aboard. Hutter is welcomed at a castle by Count Orlok. When Hutter is eating dinner and accidentally cuts his thumb, Orlok tries to suck the blood out, but his repulsed guest pulls his hands away. Hutter wakes up to a deserted castle the morning after and notices fresh punctures on his neck, which in a letter he sends by courier on horseback to be delivered to his devoted wife. He travels to Mosquitoes. That night, Orlok signs the documents to purchase the house across from Hutter's own home in Wisberg and notices a photo of Hutter's wife, remarking that she has a lovely neck.
Oh boy.
Oh man. Okay. Let's see. Reading a book about vampires that he took from a local inn, Hutter starts to suspect that Orlok is Nosferatu, the bird of death. He cowers in his room as midnight approaches, but there is no way to bar the door. The door opens by itself and Orlok enters, his true nature finally revealed. And Hutter hides under the bed covers and falls unconscious. At the same time this is happening, his wife awakens from her sleep and is in a trance walks towards the balcony and onto the railing. Alarmed, Harding shouts Ellen's name and she faints while he asks for a doctor. After the doctor arrives, she shouts Hutter's name, remaining in the trance and apparently able to see Orlok in his castle, threatening her unconscious husband. The doctor believes this trance-like state is due to blood congestion. The next day, Hutter explores the castle. In its crypt, he finds a coffin in which Orlok is resting dormant. Hutter becomes horrified and dashes back to his room. Hours later, from the window, he sees Orlok piling coffins on a coach and climbing into the last one before the coach departs. Hutter escapes the castle through the window but is knocked unconscious by the fall and awakens in a hospital. When he is sufficiently recovered, he hurries home. Meanwhile, the coffins are shipped downriver on a raft. They are transferred to a schooner, but not before one is opened by the crew, revealing a multitude of rats. The sailors on the ship get sick one by one. Soon all but the captain and the first mate are dead. Suspecting the truth, the first mate goes below to destroy the coffins. However, Orlok awakens, and the horrified sailor jumps into the sea. Unaware of his danger, the captain becomes Orlok's latest victim when he ties himself to the wheel. When the ship arrives in Wisberg, Orlok leaves unobserved, carrying one of his coffins, and moves into the house he purchased. The next morning, when the ship is inspected, the captain is found dead. After examining the logbook, the doctors assuming they are dealing with the plague. The town is stricken with panic, and people are warned to stay inside. There are many deaths in the town, which are blamed on the plague. Right. Nock, who had been committed to a psychiatric ward, escapes after murdering the warden. The townspeople give chase, but he eludes them by climbing a roof, then using a scarecrow. Meanwhile, Orlok stares from his window at the sleeping Ellen. Against her husband's wishes, Ellen had read the book he found. The book claims that the way to defeat a vampire is for a woman who is pure in heart to distract the vampire with her beauty all through this night. Right. And I'm Willy Wonka. She opens her window to invite him in, but faints. When Hutter revives her, she sends him to fetch Professor Bulwer. After he leaves, Orlok comes in. He becomes so engrossed drinking her blood that he forgets about the coming day. Nock, who has been recaptured, senses what is happening to Orlok, who is evidently his master, but is restrained from breaking out of his cell to warn him. When a rooster crows, Orlok vanishes in a puff of smoke as he tries to flee, which Nock senses as he quietly dies. Ellen lives just long enough to be embraced by a grief-stricken husband. The last scene shows Count Olaf's ruined castle and the Carpathian Mountains, symbolizing the end of his reign of terror. Yeah, and that's the end of Nosferatu.
Yes.
Alright, so this film, as I said at the beginning of this, is regarded as one of the first horror films in the history of the genre. Specifically because of how the lead actor play Max Schreck, of course, actually for some strange reason he got into the role a little bit too much. This film still scared the piss out of people. So, and not to mention the fact that this film this has been used by so many people. This has been used in so many different situations. If you guys remember if you guys remember the episode of SpongeBob, where they're they think that the guy that goes into the Krusty Krab is the hatchling slasher or whatever. Yeah, and Nosferatu is the one that's turning on and off the lights and all that and stuff like that. Yeah. I thought that was funny. Yeah. But this film is regarded as one of the scariest movies to ever grace the silver screen, and it is one of the most legendary films in the history of horror. And because of the chilling performance from Max Schreck. Max Schreck plays Orlok horrifically. He plays him the way they play with darkness in this film is very, very, very gothic. It's very gothic. not only is it has a gothic feel to it, but it is very horrifying.
Yeah.
Especially when he goes into bite Ellen on the neck, you know.
Yeah.
And stuff like that. And I give this film a lot of credit. A lot. F.W. Murnau had so much trouble. There was a movie, I forget what it was, where I think it was Shadow of the Vampire. Yeah, that's what it's called. It's supposed to be like a fictionalized account of the making of Nosferatu and stuff like that. But I thought that kind of told the story of how horrific. Even though it's fictionalized, I still think that it was a very, very horrific take on how the making of the film actually was.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but even still, I love this movie. I'm pretty sure Dark Knight 97 wouldn't watch this if you paid him.
Yeah, I don't think I would. I know all about this old vampires, old movies. He has a glorious preference in SpongeBob. I know all about that, but yeah, I would not watch it because I know how freaky it can be. Even though it's one of an old school movie, I know it's. I would not watch it. Even if you paid me, I would not sit through it.
No. So what? So you guys are probably asking, well, Graham, what did you give it? What did you and Dark Knight 97 give this film? Well, we gave it a 10 out of 10. This film is still legendary after all these years. This film is still terrifying since it first came out. You know what I mean? And you know, it was hard for me to go to sleep last night after watching it. So,
oh god.
But yeah, because I had to get ready for this review somehow. So
yeah.
But yeah, I think Nosferatu is one of the greatest films to ever be made, period. And it is regarded as one of the first horror films ever made, as I said before. And it still packs a punch as one of the most scariest fucking films in the history of horror. But let me know in the comments section down below what you guys think and all that. And yeah, that's gonna be it for me. I'm Mr. Grimreaper 2. He is Dark Knight 97, and we'll see you all in the afterlife. Happy Halloween, and we'll see you later. Peace.